Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.wordpress.com, here to do a pull list review for comics that I read that came out in the last week of July, the 5th week of July. But first, I want to talk about a comic that came out at the end of June, Uncanny. This is from Dynamite Entertainment, written by Andy Diggle with Aaron Campbell on art. Season of Hungry Ghost, Part 1. I got this just recently from my online store that they offered number one at 70 cents. So this retails for $3.99, and I got it for 70 cents. And so I decided to try it because I'd heard some good things about it, and the premise sounded interesting to me. So I ordered it and got it with my last comic order that shipped to me. And I have to say, I really, really enjoyed this comic. So it features the character of Weaver. It's him on the cover there. And he has a special ability. He can, when he touches someone, he knows their secrets. He knows them. He knows what they know, including he can pick up skills like fighting skills, as shown in this comic. So the comic opens up basically with him playing poker or some card game. I think it's in it's somewhere. I won't say where. Anyway, it's somewhere in a foreign land from here. And he apparently reads the guy wrong, or at least that's what he thinks, because he figures the guy is bluffing. The guy wasn't bluffing, and he ends up owing the guy $250,000. Well, he doesn't have $250,000. He was conning the guy because he'd shaken hands with him before. So then he goes back to his room, and he fights the guy who is supposed to collect the money for him. He tries to get out of the country. That doesn't work. He ends up absorbing the knowledge of a security guard so he can get out of there. And at the end, he runs into a woman who apparently knows who he is and what he can do, and is telling him that he should come with her to her employer because they want to offer him a job. So really good comic. I highly recommend it if you haven't been reading it. The issue number 5 was just solicited in the last previews, and I pre-ordered that. So I imagine that a trade will be coming out fairly soonish. I'm not sure how Dynamite does their trade stuff, their trade program, or how soon they release trades. But because I enjoyed this so much, I emailed the online store and asked if they could add issues 2 through 4 to my list. So hopefully I'll be getting those soon, I hope. Let's see, I think issue 2 has just come out. Pretty sure that's correct. So anyway, I'm hoping to get 3 and 4, and of course I'll get 5 because I pre-ordered it. Anyway, good comic, you should check it out. Adventures of Superman number 3. This is written by Matt Kindt with art by Steven Segovia. This was a mixed bag for me. Matt Kindt is not one of my favorite writers, but I found it interesting. So, Superman can fly. So what does Superman dream about? A lot of people have dreams that they can fly. I've had many of those, and my God, those are some of my favorite dreams is when I know I can fly. Anyway, but what does Superman dream about, right? So he talks about that at the beginning of the comic, and then at the very end it comes in. I'll get to that in a second. In the meantime, he's off on another planet, basically solving that planet's problems by stopping a civil war. Is my take on that. And then he ends up getting trapped on Apocalypse, and makes a comment about how the Apocalypse's problems are so many that he can't solve them that day. But it really made me think about Superman and solving the problems on Earth, and he doesn't do that. There's been a point made where he helps people and tries to get them to do the right thing, to be inspirational in that way, but he doesn't interfere directly, which I found that contrast with what's going on here on these alien planets to be not quite in character, I guess. But it was still an interesting story. So what's also interesting about this is that at the bottom of of every page, there's a strip about maybe that big ish, maybe an inch and a half tall, and it runs throughout the entire comic. But it features Lois Lane talking with Lex Luthor, who is talking about how he's going to run for president, and she's going to help him. And if she doesn't, then he's going to kill her friends and family and all this stuff. And there's some bomb that if she walks through the door, then it blows up, and Lex already has it. Has a story involving terrorists and whatnot. Superman ends up saving her in the end. But that was interesting, that design choice, that layout choice of the comic. But at the end, Superman says, "But what do I dream about? I dream about taking a nice, slow walk." And the very last panel of this is him as Clark Kent walking with Lois Lane down the street. So I thought that was pretty cute. That bit of the story, that ending, made up for the rest of the issues I had with this comic. So there you go. Angel and Faith number 24. I don't think I've ever talked about this one, but this has been one of the, out of the two Whedonverse comics I read, this and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this is definitely the stronger of the two. I think we're getting down to the end of the season. This would be Angel season 6, right? Yeah, that's the show only lasted 5 seasons, and so this would have been season 6. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say much more about it. All right, Batman Annual number 2. Featuring the Anchoress, the Asylum, and Zero Year. So I ordered this. Well, I get Batman anyway, so I was going to get it anyway. But when I pre-ordered it, the solicitation text talked about how Batman, I think anyway, I remember reading this somewhere. If it wasn't the solicitation in previews, it was something else. Anyway, the comic is supposed to be about Batman checking himself into Arkham Asylum to basically escape-proof the facility. So he's getting locked in there and trying to escape so that they can improve things. That appealed to me, and I was hoping to get more of that in this comic, this annual. I didn't get that so much. I mean, it's there, it's part of the story, but really the focus is on this new character, the Anchoress, which honestly I just didn't care. So not a great story, not a great annual. This is by Scott Snyder with written with Marguerite Bennett, with Russ Craig on the art, I believe. Okay, next up, a really good Batman comic, Batman Incorporated number 13. I'm actually not going to say much about this because I'm going to ask you if you want to hear. Okay, let me back up. Great comic, great end to the Grant Morrison run on Batman. I have so much to say about this, but I'm not going to say it here. I'm sorry. I did record an episode of the Long Box Review podcast. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts about that, you can go listen to that episode. It should be out pretty soon. You can find the podcast episodes on iTunes, or you can just go to the longboxreview.wordpress.com/podcast website, and you can download that episode, and you can hear my detailed thoughts about this comic. I loved it so much, I recorded an episode entirely on this issue. So there you go. Bedlam number 8. I think it's my last issue. I really wanted to like this comic. I thought the premise of it was interesting. I enjoyed that first storyline. Where this is going now, I'm not sure, and quite frankly, I just don't care anymore. I also read, I'm getting this Doctor Who Prisoners of Time. They're going, because this is the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, they're doing this year-long series, and each issue features one of the Doctors, one of the 11 Doctors. And with the 12th issue, I'm sure obviously we'll wrap things up, but I'm sure that all the Doctors will be in there. Anyway, this is the 7th Doctor. I just finished watching So on BBC America, every month they're running a Doctor Who Revisited, or what is it? I can't remember what they call it, but basically they talk about each Doctor, and then they show a classic episode of Doctor Who. And I'm a huge fan of the relaunch of Doctor Who since 2005, but I never really watched a lot of the old Doctor Who. I saw some of the Fourth Doctor stuff on PBS back when I was high school-ish age, and it was okay. It didn't really appeal to me, but the relaunch I really love. But I've always been interested in the old Doctor Who stuff, especially the each Doctor. I want to see what's the big deal about all these other Doctors, and so reading this has kind of given me a sense of what each Doctor is like, coupled with that special that they do. And I read this issue while I was watching the special on this Doctor. So everything makes Ace is in here, if you know Doctor Who and the Seventh Doctor, who Ace is and all that stuff. So it makes perfect sense to me now after I read that. So enjoyable, but it's not really knocking my socks off. Okay, next up, Fearless Defenders number 7 as well. I think this is my last issue of this. I kind of dropped it. I think maybe it's number 8. I'm not sure. After the events of issue number 6, I was more than happy to drop this. But then I got this issue, and considering what happens here, and this might be a spoiler, maybe not, but just in case, I want to say that I want to say love interest of Valkyrie is in this, and she died last issue. Well, the story is about her in Valhalla, and at the very end, Clea, Doctor Strange's, what is she, his girlfriend, I think? Anyway, she helps Valkyrie out, and they're able to bring her back from the dead. And the question is raised whether she's inhabiting Valkyrie, because that's part of Valkyrie's history, is that the spirit of Brunhilde inhabits this other body. So is she inhabiting Valkyrie's body, or is it vice versa? So I'm really intrigued where this is going now, but I stopped pre-ordering it. So I guess I'm gonna have to be okay with that, or I just might decide to go pick up number 8 off the shelf. Yeah, it's $2.99, so I'm okay with doing that. Flash Annual number 2. So I got this because this is by Brian Bricioletto, Basri, Dubik, and Hamner. So I got this because the solicitation text said that this was chronicling an early, or the first, can't remember which one it said now, team up with Flash and Green Lantern. And that's one of the things I think is really missing here in the New 52 with DC, is that there's no history. There is a history, but we don't know it. We don't know how things have unfolded in this New 52 universe. So I'm really interested in to read tales that kind of fill in those blanks for me. This was okay. It shows Hal Jordan. It's interesting. Hal Jordan. It's like the Wonder Woman problem. Wonder Woman in all the comics except for her own title is a different character from the Wonder Woman in her own title, and I really enjoy her character in her own title and not so much in the others. Hal Jordan is the same. It's the same situation in that he is shown to be not the same kind of character that he is in his own book, and I don't like that character. He's cocky and brash, and that's part of his character, sure, but it's almost too much in these other books, and he's kind of portrayed that way in here. But you get a few nuggets in the fact that you see the friendship with that has, well, I take that back. What you see is them, the friendship as it's developed over the last 5 or 6 years, and then you get thrown back into when they first meet each other, which it's an interesting contrast. But I like to see more of this, I guess, to see how that friendship developed over time. There's this one spot where Hal, as Green Lantern, captures Barry, who's investigating the disappearance of these children, and so Barry is able to. He gets Green Lantern kind of grabs him with these vice-like things and the construct, and Barry vibrates out of it, and Green Lantern quickly realizes that this guy has powers. Well, then Barry turns into the Flash because of something that's going on, and Hal's like, "Oh, you're like me. You're a person who dresses up and does this." Of course, Flash kind of calls him, or doesn't kind of. He refers to him as Superman at first, but the funny part is that when Green Lantern catches up to the Flash and they're talking, Green Lantern goes, "You're Barry Allen, right?" And Barry goes, "No, I'm the Flash." And Green Lantern is, "I just talked to you. It's the same voice." Anyway, Hal is immediately like, "Hey, and by the way, I'm Hal Jordan," essentially. And Flash is like, "Don't tell me your secret. You're not supposed to tell me that stuff." Thought that was cute. Really cute. All right, next up is Sex, number 5. He's got an itch he just can't scratch. Wow. This is one of those titles where it's like, this could be a really interesting story, and it's really not. Enough said. Superman Annual number 2. Just don't read it, or not much. I have nothing to say about it. It was that good. All right, Trinity of Sin, PANDORA number 2. This is a Trinity War tie-in. There's not much here really. This takes place after the issue in which one of the Justice League issues where Superman supposedly kills Dr. Light. After Pandora basically tries to get Superman to open Pandora's box, that skull thing, and she came to him because basically only the purest good and the purest evil can open the box, and she thought Superman would be the purest good. So that didn't work. So what do? Logically, you go after the purest bad. Well, who's that? Well, in this story, it's Vandal Savage. Well, and spoiler, it doesn't work with him either. So, this character, this comic, I'm done with it after next issue. I think I decided that. I pre-ordered up to 3, and that was enough because I just don't care about the character. She's a one-note character created to usher in the New 52 and to be a linchpin in some way in the DC universe, having to do with the Trinity War, which leads to Forever Evil, I guess. And I just don't see what the long-term plan of this character in this title is. So after the Trinity War and Forever Evil stuff, where do they go with this? Maybe it would have been better served for this to be a unlimited series or something. I don't know. I feel bad for Mr. Ray Fox and Daniel Sampier and Vincente Cifuentes. I don't know. Hopefully they'll go to work on something a little better. And finally, Uncanny XMen number 9. See Dazzler there on the cover, and that's really the only interesting part about this is Dazzler showing up, and basically at the very end, she and what's her name, Magic, have words. And it makes you wonder. Magic basically calls her a traitor to her people. The mutants, and Dazzler just trying to help out. So I thought that was interesting, that little exchange, and really the rest of it is just plot, just trying to Dazzler trying to talk to, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's the guy that produces the gold balls. I don't know what Bendis is going with that, where Bendis is going with that, but trying to get information from him about Cyclops and what he's doing and where he is and all this stuff. So it was okay. I'm enjoying the X-Men books by Bendis. This is the art by Chris Pacello, which I enjoy. It was good. All right, that's it. If I had to pick one of these, well, okay. Obviously, Batman Incorporated number 13 is my number one pick for this week. But a close second is that Uncanny issue from June. But I read it about the same time. So there you go. That's my look at comics from the 5th week, the last week of July. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.